And that was a huge mistake for me. And some of y'all might be making that same mistake. Some of y'all keep feeling like a failure because you're trying to live up to what your parents said success is for you. So I'm telling you that, hey, all those things are cool, what your parents saying, what community is saying, what society is saying, but what are you saying is successful for you? What up, everybody? I'm here with another episode of Taco Thursday with JK, and I'm your host, JK, and you know I'm all about helping young adults win in life and at life, and I do so by tackling different topics that young adults experience, and I share things from my personal experience, or when I have guests on, they share things that I believe that we are able to help those that listen to young adults, those that follow and listen to the podcast, that things that you will be able to take away from each episode and be able to go and apply in your own life in those areas and experience some W's, some victories, some wins at life. And today, man, we are tackling the topic. I encourage you, I challenge you to tackle this topic: define success for yourself. Right? Define success for yourself. Right? And or you can ask yourself, what does success look like for you? Right? So we got to answer that question. And I just lately, man, you know, just give you a backstory, just kind of like what this title derived from, or this episode derived from, man. I had an opportunity. I was blessed with the opportunity to go speak at a football camp. And, you know, as I began to prepare and, you know, and God blessed me with the message, you know, just about success. And the big thing, man, that I share with them, and I just want to share with y'all today and challenge you all to tackle this in your own life, is one, we got to define what success looks like for us, right? And then two, when we define that success, we got to put the work in to go after and to go after that success, or to go after those goals. And then once we arrive at that success, once we arrive at those goals, then we got to make a choice, right? We got to make a choice. We got a choice whether we could be content with a success or complacent with a success, right? And so that's really what I want to tackle with you all today, man. And like I say, we got to answer the question: what does success look like for us? Or define success for yourself. And I just want to share the importance. And so for my young adults out there, for those that are listening, you got to define what success looks like for you. You have to. And because when you don't define what success looks like for you, the world will define what success looks like for you. Society will define what success looks like for you. When you don't define what success looks like for you, your parents will define what success looks like for you. If you don't define what success looks like for you, somebody else in this world will define what success looks like for you. And see that, you know, it doesn't sound bad on the surface to let our parents define what success looks like for us, or your coach define what success looks like for you, right? That doesn't sound bad on the surface, but what I realize is that even if your life looks successful, even if you're doing things that everybody like, oh, you so successful, if it's not the success that you define for yourself, you still gonna wake up every day feeling like a failure. Why? Because you're only being successful at what somebody else told you to be successful at, and you're not being successful at what you define success to be for you. And you may be saying, well, man, how you know, Jeremy? How do you know that I won't be fulfilled, or I won't be content with experiencing success as somebody else defined it for me? And I know that because I lived it. I was blessed to play for professional football. I was blessed to be a 1%er and play professional football after college, right? I was playing in the Arena League. I played in the UFL. I played on ESPN, played on ESPN2, played on NFL Network, played on the regular CBS with SEC football. Come on. I played on CBS Sports Network. I won the championship. I won individual accolades. And guess what? After the season would be over, I feel like a failure. And you may be saying, man, I know people that I know, right? to other people, it's like, man, Jeremy, you living a life, man. You playing on TV, you balling, you winning, you get accolades. Like, how and why could you feel like a failure after experiencing all that? And the reason why I was able to feel like a failure is because I didn't define what success looked like for me as a football player after college. And so because I didn't define it for myself, guess who defined it for me? Society. Right? I know the dog that I am. I know the person that I am. I know the competitor that I am. I know the never give up attitude that I am came from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Growing up in that community, I know my tenacity, my love, my passion for the game of football came from playing football in South Florida, because football is king. But what I also realize is that I allowed society, I allowed that community to define what success looked like for me in terms of football after college, because I was listening to this video and the person on the video said that some parents get their kids involved in sports so they can go pro, just so they could go pro, like to be a professional athlete. And then he said some parents get their kids involved in sports so they could take away from the intangibles of being on the team and being a part of a team. And that's how my parents were. My parents, they got me in sports because, right, to keep me active, for me to learn how to be on the team, how to be unselfish, how to deal with defeat, how to handle winning. That's why my parents got me involved. We weren't talking about going to the league. Like they didn't come to me and say, son, you got to play football or baseball or basketball so you can go to the league. That wasn't their plan. However, being in that community, being in that society down there in South Florida, the pressure of going to the league. And I also think that because so much talent comes from Florida and we see so many people go to the NFL. I got people that I played with. Jason Paul went to the NFL. I got Denard Robinson went to the NFL. I seen people that came before me go to the NFL. Then I'm looking at people at rival schools. Every school pretty much that we didn't play, there are people going to the NFL. So you don't realize growing up down there that it's still a 1% chance of going to the NFL. Right? You don't realize it because you see so many people around you going that you like, oh yeah. I got to get to the league. They going to the league. I got to get to the league. Right? And so I allowed the society, the definition of success for a football player, I allowed that to define what success looks like for me. And so basically it was, hey, Jeremy, in order to be successful as a football player, you got to go to the NFL. And because I never defined it for me and I let society's definition be my definition for success as a football player, because that was my definition, I allowed that to be my definition, I thought that I was a failure even though I had a championship. Right? Even though I'm playing on TV, even though I'm experiencing individual accolades, individual success, I still felt like a failure because I hadn't reached the NFL. And according to my community and society that I grew up in, the NFL was the ultimate statement or measure of success as a football player. And that was a huge mistake for me. And some of y'all might be making that same mistake. Some of y'all keep feeling like a failure because you're trying to live up to what your parents said success is for you. I know in certain communities, I was just having a conversation with a brother yesterday. He was just saying how, his parents, how he wanted to be a doctor. And because the community and society say the doctor is the greatest level of, measure of success. Or some families, some parents say, look, man, I was listening to the comedian Godfrey, he was talking about on the Pivot podcast how his parents, he was Nigerian. So he said in Nigerian culture, it's like, hey, you got to be a doctor. You got to be something like that. So his dad was like, hey, if comedy don't work out, hey, you can always be a doctor. If this don't work out, so their measure of success was be a doctor. But that wasn't Godfrey's definition of success for him. And so I'm telling you that, hey, all those things are cool, what your parents saying, what community saying, what society is saying. But what are you saying is successful for you? And it wasn't until I heard TD Jakes say this, he said, man, be great on your level. When he said that, I adopted that. I implemented that. I ingrained that in my heart, in my mindset, in my perspective. Thank the Lord, right? Because from that point on, it was like, look, man, I ain't in the NFL. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the NFL, but I'm in the Arena Football League. This is what God got me. So if this is what He got me, then I got to be the best on this level. I got to be the best where I am. I got to appreciate where I am, and that's what I was able to do from that point on. So I embraced where I was, and I took control over what success was and what success is for me as a professional football player. And I was able to embrace and enjoy it. I went on to win another championship. I had my jersey in the NBA store because we played where the Suns at. So my jersey's up there with the Suns players. Man, it was just amazing. I'm still playing on TV, but now I felt like a success. Why? Because I took control of what the definition of success was for my life. Just like you need to take control of what the definition of success is for you. What does success look like for you? You got to define it, because if you don't, somebody else will define it for you. And if somebody else defines it for you, then you'll be trying to live up to what somebody else said success is, and you'll still feel like a failure because it's not what you said success is. It's not what God showed you success is for you. And then lastly, right, when we gotta work hard to get to that success, to experience the success that we say is success for our life, and you got to put that work in. And so once you put that work in and you start to experience what you define success to be for your life, then you got to make a choice. No matter how old you are, how young you are, no matter what you say success is or looks like for your life, whatever it is, whenever we are successful, we got to make a choice out of two options. We either could be content or we could be complacent with the success. Content says, oh man, I experienced this level of success. I appreciate it. I'm grateful. I'm thankful, but I'm still hungry for more. And complacent, if we choose to be complacent with success, what we are saying is, man, I'm good. Like I made it, bro. Like, bro, I can start working hard because I didn't got this success, so I'm complacent. And the thing is, if we get complacent with our success, we ain't gonna be too much more successful after that because we complacent, we good, we full of our success. But when we are content with our success, we are thankful, we're content, right? We're appreciative. We're not envious of other people's success because we're content with our own success. But guess what? We want more success. We want more success, so we keep working hard. So I look at myself, I'm like, okay, all right, my goal was to be first team All-State in high school. Boom, I got that. I was content with that. I wasn't complacent. I was content. I was thankful. I was appreciative, but I wanted to keep working hard. I wanted the scholarship. Got the scholarship. I wasn't complacent with the scholarship. I was content. So guess what I did? Kept working hard. Got to college. Hey, I'm in college. I'm playing D1 ball. I wasn't complacent. I was content. I kept grinding for more success. I made all conference sophomore year. I was content. Kept working. Made all conference junior, senior year. Kept working. So what I'm trying to say is, hey, be content with your success, not complacent. Be appreciative. Thank the Lord for your success. Be grateful for your success. But now it's time to go and keep working because you want more success. You want to go from level to level and keep growing and be successful. But you got to define what success is for you, because if you don't define what success is for you, then you'll be chasing other people's definition of success for yourself. And that could be lonely. That could lead to feeling like a failure when no, you're not a failure. You're not a failure. If you really sit back at your life and see all the things that you've been able to accomplish and succeed, you'll realize how successful you are. All right. And man, ask God to reveal it to you. Ask God to give you the right perspective on what success looks like for you in every area of your life. As a man, as a woman, as a mother, as a father, as a husband, as a wife, as a leader, as a son, as a daughter, as an athlete, as a teacher, at whatever career, as an entrepreneur. Ask God to give you the right perspective of what success looks like for you. And then you work towards that success. And when you experience that success, right? Be content with it, be thankful and appreciative of it, and then grind for more success. All right? All right, man. Hey, I appreciate y'all for listening, man. Hey, continue to come back for another episode of Tackle Thursday with JK. I'm all about helping young adults win in life and at life, man. Hey, man, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jeremy Kellum. That's my personal page. Y'all go subscribe to our family channel, Kellum Family Moments, on YouTube as well, man. Hey, continue to wake up, strive to win on purpose, be intentional about winning, and have a blessed day.